And we are live. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the world-renowned scholar, doctor, surgeon, a family friend, a believer, and so much more to not just myself, my family, but the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. None other, and of course, an activist as well, frontline soldier for many years, for decades. None other than Minister Dr. Abdul Alim Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Joshua. How are you today?
How's your family? Doing great. We're doing fine. Pray to Allah that you and your family are doing well. This means every time you come on the podcast, it brightens up my day as well as the lives of many others who enjoy getting hearing the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So it's always great every time you come on.
Well, I'm certainly honored to be a guest with the People's Podcast. You know, some would have me to be an outcast, but I don't think that's really true.
Yes, sir.
And so it's always an honor to be interviewed by someone as professional as yourself. And I've complimented you before. And you should give yourself credit, and your listeners and viewers should give you credit for being one of the best interviewers that I've ever been interviewed by. And I've been interviewed by the best in the business.
Praise be to Allah, yes, sir.
So I hope that you're getting paid, and I hope that you're prospering because of the good work that you're doing, fostering, and this is the most important point, fostering dialogue among the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of information and knowledge and understanding, and share with one another what our life experience has been about. So thank you once again, brother Joshua, for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And thank you to everybody who's watching. And Dr. Alim, I want to make sure that we want this on the record while we get started, that I posted the other day of 1.7 million views on the People's Podcast by the grace of Allah. And each playlist, it gives us the numbers. And the number one viewed, watched guest out of all of the thousands of interviews I've had goes by the name of Dr. Minister Abdul Alim Muhammad. So it shows that people enjoy what you are saying and what you your life experience, and just great guidance and advice for not only the youth, but for all. So we thank Allah for you, sir.
All praise is due to Allah.
Yes, sir. Automatically, Sister Gabrielle saying, Assalamu alaikum, family. Sister Sabir saying, Assalamu alaikum, family. Walaikum salam, brother from Public Enemy, the enemy's public, brother Nasir. Thank you very much. And this is beautiful. Okay, yes, sir. The first question, we have a very serious topic starting off. The life of the man who's affectionately known as the General, Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad, who has affected so many people, and we'll be speaking about him for the upcoming weeks, as we always have, but getting first primary source testimony from people who actually knew him for years. When did you first meet him, sir?
Wow. I guess about 45 years ago. It was the day that Mount St. Helens erupted. The same day that Minister Farrakhan came to New York City at City College. That's when I joined up again with the minister in his rebuilding efforts. That was May the 18th, 1980. That's the day I met Dr. Khalid for the first time. And I also met, at that time, the East Coast representative of the Nation of Islam, Minister Linward X, as he was known at that time.
Yes, sir.
That's who we're talking about, Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad. And, we use the term pioneer, I think, kind of loosely. But if you want to know what a true pioneer is, I mean, somebody that just challenges the wilderness. Someone
yes, sir.
that forges a path where there is no path. That's Minister Abdul Karriem. Because there wasn't nothing in New York. There wasn't anything happening in New Jersey. Nothing was going on in Connecticut and Boston until Abdul Karriem got busy. And he had a delivery that, I mean, he deserved the title general because he was like a field general.
Yes, sir.
He was more like a captain than he was a minister, but he could preach like any minister. And his delivery style was pure thunder and lightning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all you're gonna get from Minister Karim was pure thunder, lightning. I mean, I've seen him break up a roster. You know, he would hit it so hard. So he was a very powerful brother, very powerful delivery, full of energy, and he had a charisma about him because of his heart was as big as the ocean.
Yes, sir.
That's why he deserved the name Karim, because he was so generous with his spirit and his love and support for the minister and the Nation of Islam and the believers, that he gave all that he had. You see, so and of course, on a personal level, how did I end up being a minister in Washington, D.C.?
Okay.
On the recommendation of Minister Karim. He was the one that told Minister Farrakhan that there was some doctor out of Harlem Hospital, you know, and he recommended me to Minister Farrakhan to send me to Washington, D.C. And so that's how I got started. So yes, one of the great people in my life, I would rank Minister Karim, up there with the best of them.
All praises due to Allah. Beautiful, brother minister. Beautiful. Yes, sir. And people are bearing witness. Walaikum salam, Sister Naima. Walaikum salam, Sister Adrian X. Thank you very much. People are sending so much love to Dr. Alim. Yes, sir. Speaking of recommendations, this is why we love the People's Podcast. I interviewed Minister Rowland out of Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir, a couple of days ago. And he had a very similar story. He said the reason he was able to be the minister in Cleveland was on the recommendation of Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad to the minister. So that just shows you.
And of course,
yes, sir.
I don't know if he mentioned this part. Minister Rowland was my fish.
Oh, no.
I fished him into the Nation of Islam when I was in medical school. I remember spending an entire evening at his apartment. And he was kind of fat and chubby at that time. And me and another brother named Leonard, we spent the whole evening, giving him the basics of the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And the next thing we know, he showed up at the mosque, at the Lost Found. And I will say that I never saw anybody in all the years I've been in the Nation of Islam, I've never seen anybody make a transformation as fast as Brother Rowland. I mean, he turned, like I said, like fat and chubby, out of shape, just the average so-called Negro. Man, he was shining like a light bulb within 6 months. And he's been a staunch follower, and credit to the Nation of Islam his entire life. So I'm proud to say he was my fish.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. See, I didn't know. Okay, no, sir. See, this is great, Dr. Ali. Beautiful. And Sister Nia says, Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam, Sister Nia. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ali, for your work and going after, Minister Rowland. Now all the work, and it all goes back to and Minister Karim recommending you all is just tremendous, that he could see that in you all. What type of when he was off the rostrum, how was Minister Karim interacting with him during that time period?
When he was off the rostrum?
Yes, sir. Like what you say he was fire and brimstone on the rostrum, off the rostrum, what was he like?
Oh, he was the sweetest, nicest brother that you could ever be around. Like I say, he was very generous and giving in all aspects of what that could mean.
Yes, sir.
In other words, he would give you a smile if you needed a smile. He would give you a big bear hug if you needed a bear hug. He would give you a gentle word of wisdom if that's what you needed. I mean, that's what he was good for. He was always a pleasure to be around. And even though, he was fire and brimstone on the rostrum, but in person, he was very soft-spoken. Very soft-spoken. And, people in the Nation of Islam nowadays, they go around, they call everybody beloved, beloved. Do you know who started that?
No, sir.
It was Mr. Karim. He started that. That was his thing. He called everybody beloved. You see, and he meant it. And I wish everybody today meant it when they said it. When they said it.
Praise be
but he
to
meant
Allah.
it when he said it. So he was
Yes,
humble, very generous, very gentle. You always felt very secure and cared for. He was a very caring, that's a good way to say it. He was a very caring kind of a person, gathering people together and keeping them together. He was like that.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, Dr. Alim, through the interviews that we've done on the People's Podcast, a lot of people speak about the climate in the 80s, how it wasn't necessarily hospitable to members of the Nation of Islam starting out. You all had to go through trials and tribulations to reestablish the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What made you? You said 1980. You all met that one day. What made you all just decide? What was it like? You know how people felt about you at the hospital. To even mention the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name. What was it that made you say, okay, we're going to accept this challenge, even though it's an uphill battle?
I don't think it was a decision.
Okay.
I mean, from my point of view, I can't speak for anybody else. I mean, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he was going to go away and he would be gone for about 3 years. And while he was gone, the world would say and believe that he was dead, but he would not be dead. And so I was waiting for a sign at 3 years.
Yes, sir.
So he departed in 75. The minister started making signs that he was going to rebuild the nation in 78. So that was the 3-year sign. So I was just, I mean, I had contacted the minister before that. I had tried to meet him in 1979 in Chicago when I attended the American College of Surgeons meeting.
Okay.
A meeting where I met the personal physician of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I had a long conversation with him about the clinical condition of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, I wasn't able to meet with the minister in 79. So what I'm saying is, by May 1980, I mean, I was anticipating.
Yes,
sir. We were just trying to arrange when would the moment occur when all of us would come together, because we knew it was going to happen, but when or where, you know, it was signaled by the explosion of Mount St. Helens.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And you spoke about Dr. Khalid being there. What was it like working with him in the early days of the rebuilding of the nation as well?
Well, Dr. Khalid and I were known as the dynamic duo.
Okay.
Yeah, in the early 80s, we did many venues together at Howard University in Washington, D.C. and other places. So we were known as the dynamic duo. So a lot of times, see, I would dress up, you know, first class FOY, you know, dark suit, bow tie, like that. And then Khalid would come in with his African stuff on, you know. Sometimes I would open up for him. Sometimes he would open up for me, you know. And so we were great companions and friends. And we were, see, we didn't know each other prior to 75 because he was on the West Coast, I was on the East Coast.
Yes,
so when
sir.
we started comparing notes, you know, some of the things that were happening on the West Coast to him were happening to me on the East Coast. And so, you know, we found great compatibility with one another. And I always considered him to be a friend to the end. Now, of course, we know history took some twists and turns, you know, that were unfortunate, you know, but in those early days, you know, we were the dynamic duo.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. And Dr. Alim, I can't stress this enough to not just you and your family, but to the people watching. That time period, like you said, 45 years ago and things of this nature, having my mother and father have you all around us and seeing you, of course, on TV, but in person, has shaped not only myself, but thousands of people to who we are today. It was the sacrifice that you all paid. So we thank Allah for you. Not to, I know you say sacrifice, but the work that you all put in, that you all have done to help the reason I'm here. So I'm always going to honor you, Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad, Minister Roland, Dr. Khalid, all of the students, like just everybody who was in that classroom at that time period, come out in 1980, just firing. And then the result is just people who it was. I wish I could have been grown during that time period. I wish I could have been adult to assist you all during the 80s and the 90s. I really do. People are bear witness to you, Dr. Alim. But assalamu alaikum family. Walaikum salam to Sandra. Walaikum salam to Viola. Only man left. 147 Savage. Thank you very much for always showing love. Yes, sir. Speaking of that,
let me say one other thing.
Yes, sir.
Karim, because you reminded me of something in what you just said. Do you know it was Minister Karim that converted Dr. Ava and 2 other lawyers at the same time in New York City? I was there the day Sister Ava, you know, she accepted her own and marched down the aisle.
Yes, sir.
With her 2 lawyer business partners, and they all joined at the same time, Brother Larry and Sister Barbara and Sister Ava. by Minister Karim.
All praises due to Allah. This is beautiful. Okay, Dr. Alim, see, this is so when I would speak to Minister Karim on the phone, and I saw him at Savior's Day, but as I got older, as we both got older, I was just talking to him on the phone, and he would say how he knew my mother and my father before they were together, and how, and he was like, this type of thing. What can we do as a better job of for the younger generation knowing about the stories, like the history he spoke to bring her and all of this history before someone transitions? How can we better, tell everybody's life story before so they can get flowers while you all live, if that makes sense?
Well, it makes perfect sense, and I think you're the answer to that. You're doing what should be done. So you're interviewing people like me. You're interviewing people like Minister Karim. Yes, before we transition. I'm not going to be here forever, and wouldn't it be a tragedy if all of my experiences die with me? No, no. One of the goals, I would say, of people in my age group, people that they call elders, they call me an elder just because I got one or two gray hairs. But anyhow, there's a duty that goes with that honor of becoming an elder. And that is to pass on the stories, pass on the experiences, pass on the lessons, so that the trials and tribulations that I and my generation went through, you won't have to go through. And I'll cap it with this. In the Quran, Jacob on his deathbed, what did he want to know? He called his sons.
Yes, sir.
His deathbed. And what did he want to know? He wanted to know, what will you follow after?
That's right. Yes, sir.
So that's what I want to know. What will my son follow after me? What will you follow after me?
Yes, sir.
What will young people of today follow after me? Will they go back into the same slavish Negro foolishness? Or will they make the advances into the hereafter that is the greatest hope and desire of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fawad Muhammad? And even if I don't see that great day that would qualify to be the hereafter, I would like to know that you make it, that you see it, that my son sees it, that my grandson see it. You see, and so that's my statement on that. I feel obligated to share what I know because I want to make sure that you have the best foundation.
Yes, sir.
To stand on long after I'm gone.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. People bear witness to you all around the world. Thank you very much, Brother Rashid, Sister Nia, Sister Viola, Brother Thomas is watching as well. Edmund Salam, please let us know which city you all are watching from, and so we can continue to show you love. We're grateful for every like, share, subscription, every anonymous Cash App, as well as Super Chat. Dr. Alim, you being, of course, a surgeon, we're coming to that next, but as a minister, I always hear people say prior to 75, in the early days, it wasn't a lot of people transitioning at a big rate. But now in the nation's time, it's like every other day I get on Facebook and it's may Allah be pleased, may Allah be pleased, may Allah be pleased. And sometimes that can take a toll on the believing family. What advice would you give after all these transitions? How do you come back to help everybody get their spirit back up to not just wallow in that?
Well, see, that's the question of the hour. See, we're living in the time of the fulfillment of the prophet's prediction.
Yes, sir.
We can't beat the prophet's prediction or make it untrue. As it was in the days of Noah and Lot, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man.
Yes, sir.
What it means is that in the days of Noah and Lot, most of the people did not believe that they were in a time of judgment. They did not realize that their very lives were at stake as to whether they believed or disbelieved in what was being taught to them. So as it was in the days of Noah and Lot, so is it today. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he hoped that he could beat the old prophet's prediction of only 144,000 being saved out of the people.
Yes, sir.
He hoped that he could beat it. But now the question is, even if he exceeded it by tenfold, that would still only be 14 million people. Master Farad Muhammad on his departure said to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, teach them like I taught you, but don't beg any of them to believe.
Yes, sir.
And if none of them believe, then you and I will go together to start the hereafter. So we are living at the time of the fulfillment of judgment. I say it that way because it's the fulfillment of our judgment.
Yes, sir.
As an individual, what was my response as an individual to the spiritual teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? What was my response as an individual, say, to the technology of how to eat to live?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now those that did not accept the spiritual teachings and guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are setting themselves up, or did set themselves up, for destruction.
Mm.
Those that would not obey the regulations of how to eat to live, they are paying the ultimate price. They are doing exactly and have done exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they would do, that they would dig their graves with their teeth. And so they have done. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked the question on the front page of a Muhammad Speaks decades ago. He asked the question, will God separate? Will God separate? Well, it's not just the separation of the black man from the white man.
Okay, okay.
No, it's the separation that takes place on the day of harvest, where the tares were allowed to grow in the field along with the wheat. But then comes the day of harvest, which is also the day of separation, where you separate the tares from the wheat.
Yes, sir.
So who are the seed of Abraham?
Yes, sir.
That are entitled to the fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham.
What?
Every soul that was on a slave ship is not the seed of Abraham. Every black person walking around in America is not of the seed of Abraham, entitled to the promise given to Abraham and the seed of Abraham. And even if you are of the seed of Abraham, Allah made it clear in the Quran that his promise does not extend to the wrongdoers. So who among the seed of Abraham responded in a proper way to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad upon the appearance of God in person?
Yes, sir.
Who among the seed of Abraham put into practice the religious principles taught to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Of utmost importance, who among us actually instituted how to eat to live, eating one meal a day, fasting 3 days a month at a minimum? So now this is the day of separation. Will God separate? Oh, yes, he's separating the wheat from the tare. The people who would not pray, the people who would not fast are succumbing to the same diseases that everybody else in the world is succumbing to, whether they call themselves Muslims or not. Did you pray? Did you fast? And if the answer to that is no, and then didn't we all receive guidance from Minister Farrakhan not to take the vaccine? Well, how many of these Muslims that are passing away are actually vaccinated? How many of them, if they were disobedient in prayer, disobedient in fasting, what makes you think that they didn't get the shot? Or how many who, even if they were listeners to the Your Immunity Project that I've been broadcasting for 5 years, when I've warned repeatedly, week after week after week, that the vaccine technology is a part of a depopulation agenda. And it's a self-spreading technology, that the breath of a vaccinated person is deadly to you. Skin contact with vaccinated people is deadly to you. Exchange of body fluids is deadly to you.
It's like back LA.
Yeah. And censorship is deadly to your thoughts. You don't even have to think. But regardless to that, you see, you do not escape the consequences for people being ignorant or disobedient.
Yes, sir.
So that's what you're witnessing, the separation of the tares from the wheat, from the goats from the sheep. We can't tell the hearts of one another, but Allah can tell. Also tell the hearts of people by what they have done over the course of their lifetime. Did they
yes,
pray?
Sir.
Did they fast? Did they carry out their religious duties as they should? Or were they disobedient? And then they pay the consequences for their disobedience. That's what we're witnessing, the consequences for disobedience.
Beautiful. Yes, sir, Dr. Lee, you're teaching and people are showing love all around the world. Greetings from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He spent a lot of weekends in New York telling Muhammad speaks in the late 60s and the 70s. He met you when he was a minister when you were a minister at Muhammad number 4. Thank you to people from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you to Quentin Alexander. Thank you to St. Louis and Melbourne, Florida. Yes, sir. People will bear witness. We have so many more questions for our illustrious guest, Minister Dr. Alim, who, man, is just a great guest. And we got some exclusive information for you all today. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, and subscription. Thank you all to every anonymous Cash App. Thank you for all of the super chats. Dr. Alim is on the road today, and we're excited to have him with us, and we're excited to have you all. Thank you to the family of Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad, and we're sending positive energy to him, his family, and all of the believers who went to the janazah today. Inshallah, we will be hearing from his son, Brother Linward Jr., very shortly. I'm not going to tell you all when because we want to make sure it happens, but you all don't want to miss the interview that we have with Minister Kareem's son to tell us what it was like being in the house with his father and growing up around him as well. So praise be to Allah. 1 second. And we are live with the People's Podcast. Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Okay, great. All right, yes, sir. And Dr. Alim, so many people are bear witness and show love in the comments. I also wanted to speak about of another guest who's from that time period who wants to come on that you introduced us to. You said his name was Captain Gaddafi at the time. Now he goes by Minister Haq. He inshallah, we'll be hearing from him as well. So Brother Linward Jr. and Minister Haq is going to come on and talk about that time. Yes, sir. What was it like being around him as well, sir?
Well, I mean, we were all rugged soldiers, and it was kind of strange because none of us had known each other before that time. And so we were like those coming in out of the wilderness, responding to the call of the minister to help him to rebuild the nation. And many of us had adopted different names, like Gaddafi, and whatnot. And so we were all getting used to one another and getting to know one another. And of course, he was trying to organize the men in New York and New Jersey under the leadership of Minister Karim. I actually, for a short period of time, believe it or not, I was the paper captain in New York.
Okay.
For the first 2 editions of the Final Call newspaper, we handled 10,000 in New York.
Go ahead.
And then shortly after that is when I was sent to Washington.
Oh, praise due to Allah. Beautiful. And Dr. Alim, I just want to say this very briefly to everybody who's watching because you got so many comments. Thank you, Brother Hamza. Thank you, Sister Pamelia out of Louisville, Kentucky. Beautiful. Thank you all very much. Walaikum salam. And Brother Nasir from New Brunswick, New Jersey. Thank you all who was watching. I was telling someone the other day about how the reason I'm a historian and just study history, you can't unstripe a soldier. You can't take if somebody's a general and they did a tour of duty in the Civil War, if they were in World War I, if they were in Desert Storm, no matter what they've done, once they have done their tour of duty, you can't come back 30 years later and try to take the stripes off that person. They can always wear the uniform, they can always wear the name. And when I hear and have had the honor of interviewing some of you all who laid the foundation for me personally, I really wish that some of the people could understand what it took to build a nation and how we stand on you all's shoulders. So when I hear you say that you were a paper captain in New York, you were Pride of 75 in Cleveland under Minister Hamza and all just the dope busters, so many things that we can never touch. the Million March and your work with AIDS, just so much. And I hear some people who say some crazy things on social media and I'm like, you haven't done anything to try to unstripe. You can't unstripe a general. You can't take back the work of these people. Minister Karim, whatever his tour of duty was, that's it. Dr. Khaled, that's it. Minister Kadir in DC, all of the people who've done the East Coast and the New York Minister, Reverend Conrad Tiller, we shout out to you. All these people who stood and wore a bow tie and held posts when it was not cool to say Allah Akbar, Assalamu Alaikum, when it was unpopular to mention Minister Farrakhan, much less represent him. I just think that we should honor you all so much more because now we take it for granted, and it's people who try to take shots at you and say slick things, not just about you, but about a lot of people who put in work in this nation. I'm like, until we can earn the stripes that you all had, until the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan can name one of you Alim, make you a national spokesman, then who are you to question these people? I don't get it. I just let you know, Dr. Alim, we salute you, People Podcast, respect you, all of the pioneers. And before people critique and try to question, I just would ask you, have you done anything? Where were you? That's all I want to know. Where were you all in the early days of the nation being rebuilt? If you weren't there, I don't want to hear it. If you didn't accomplish anything, I don't want to hear it. I just wanted to say that, Dr. Alim, get that out the way, because we got to talk about deliberative dialogue and how you handle when you know what you've accomplished, when you know that you are successful in the nation, out the nation, but you see people say slick things to you and try to slander you. How do you handle that? How do you maneuver through that, Dr. Alim, when you know that people ain't accomplished nothing that you've accomplished?
Well, as it was then, so it is now. Mm. See, we've been talking about the early days back in the 80s, the rebuilding effort of the nation and all of that. Well, don't you understand that we were all being slandered back then? Mm. People were saying terrible things about the minister. People were saying terrible things about me. I mean, there was, even at Harlem Hospital. Mm. I mean, see, in those early days, the rebuilding effort of the Nation of Islam was kind of underground because there was actual danger. You better not let the wrong person know that you were a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because there could be repercussions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it was kind of like underground, and then gradually emerged above ground. But there was a whole lot of slander and backbiting and gossip going on at that time. And so we learned to withstand that because we had a mission and we were on point with our duty. And we knew that the slanderers would fall by the wayside because, as you said, they're not doing nothing but slander. And what is really a sign of is just their own ignorance and their own disbelief. Because how could you slander those who are fighting for the freedom, justice, and equality, of our whole people, including the one that's doing the slander? You see, so you can see that these people have some mental imbalance. The Quran says in their heart is a disease.
Yes, sir.
And so the way my attitude has always been, and I'll leave it with this, is like hearing a dog barking in the back alley. Now, am I really going to go back there and see what the dog is barking about and give him an answer?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I don't
sir.
think so.
Yes, sir. Well, praise be
to
Allah.
The Prophet Salam said, the dogs may bark, but the caravan moves on.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Yes, sir. And people are bearing witness. Thank you, Brother Ronald. He's saying he's born out of Jamaican. Thank you very much for representing out of Jamaica. Brother Quentin Alexander, yes, sir. Thank you. We love and respect the foundation builders. Brother Nasir, thank you for concurrence. Sister Viola, thank you for teach. Walaikum salam, Brother Aaron. Walaikum salam, Sister Naima. And thank you to everybody else who's showing love in the comments. I wanted to ask you, first of all, we want to celebrate because as someone who recently graduated in December, I didn't fully have an appreciation for college education until I graduated, until I was in it. And then when you in it, you're like, okay, I get it. And this is a history major. Now I want to go get my master's degree. But to see, we want to celebrate Minister Dr. Alim, 50 years of being a surgeon, of being a real doctor. We just got to salute you for that. We applaud you. 50 years. And I want people to understand this is a man who's taken lives into his hands and transformed them and brought people. I've had guests on the podcast who I didn't even mention Dr. Alim. And they said, oh, yes, Dr. Alim gave me advice that affected me. Dr. Alim gave me some advice that helped me. My sister, my blood sister, my parents told me how you gave them advice to help Mimi walk. And when she was bow-legged and they were trying to break the legs. This is a real surgeon, a real doctor that we have in our nation who's been helping lives and saving lives for 50 years. All praises due to Allah. So we thank you for that. We salute you. I got a question coming back. I just want to make sure this is on the record.
Praises due to Allah.
The young people can see this is an example of someone you can't take being a surgeon away. You can't take, that's a skill, that's a gift. That's what we need to help build a nation. And when you have someone who has that gift and skill, we should salute that and honor that. Titles come and go, posts come and go. We already know how that is. It's temporary, nothing is forever, but being a surgeon. Okay, now, that's all I'm saying. 50 years, that's an accomplishment. How does it feel, Dr. Alim, to know that you are, that you accomplished so much in 50 years to be like a doctor? And what advice would you give to the younger generation about the importance of going into the medical field?
Well, thank you for all those accolades.
Yes, sir.
But I don't feel like I've accomplished all that much, actually.
Yes, sir.
Compared to what I intended to do. What I intended being a medical student during those days was to be a doctor in a hospital for Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what my goal was. And so even though 50 years have gone by, I don't feel completely satisfied with anything that I have done or may have done, because I know that what I would have done would have been so much more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Had a hospital. See, you're right. I am a surgeon, but a surgeon without a hospital is useless.
Mm.
Surgery is not performed on the kitchen table.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in other words, in one sense, my training as a surgeon was almost a waste of time, since we didn't have a hospital for me to operate in. Now, I didn't let it be a waste of time, but I'm just trying to put a perspective on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What may seem like a lot to some is hardly anything at all to someone else.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, I mean, if we were Baptists instead of Muslims in the Nation of Islam, you see how many hospitals do the Baptists have? See how many hospitals do the Catholics have? Doctors do the Presbyterians have? How many doctors do the Greek Orthodox have? How many hospitals and doctors do the Jews have? So I'm not saying that we don't have the numbers that they have, but we just never organize ourselves efficiently so that we could get the benefit of those trained and qualified professionals that we have among us. Someone asked me a question recently, how can we solve the retention problem in the nation? How can we hold on to Black professionals? Well, easy, just give them something to do. You can have every doctor in the world if you had a hospital where they could work at, but just to have a doctor sitting in the pews, well, wait a minute, you don't need a doctor to sit in the pews to keep it warm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that brings me really to my solution to that dilemma, my personal dilemma. How are we going to get a hospital so I can have some place to work and show what I can really do?
Yes, sir.
We have to build the 9 ministries. You see, we have to build the 9 ministries. And that would include a hospital. That would include a university, that would include a medical school.
Yes, sir.
We could train doctors and nurses and dentists and all of the other health professionals and every other kind of professional that we need.
Yes, sir.
So at this ripe old age of 76, I'm looking back on 50 years and I'm saying, how in the world did we let 50 years go by and not build the 9 ministries that we need? How did I let 50 years go by and not allow that to happen? You see, so that's the sobering lesson that I have from the past. I hope the younger people, the younger generation listening today, I hope you don't let 50 years go by and accomplish so little. So why don't you fulfill the dreams of your mothers and your fathers and some of your grandparents, who were these foundation stones of the nation? See, I would go out of this world with a smile on my face if I knew that there was a generation of young doctors coming up You know,
Yes, sir.
that would pick up from where I left off.
Yes, sir.
When I look back and I don't see anybody behind me,
Mm.
well, then what? What are people who only have a past don't have a future?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you for those kind remarks. You know, and I don't want to feel like I'm a useless person or I never did anything. But let's compare
Yes,
what was done compared to what needed to be done.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's not even 1/10. It's not even 1% of what was needed. So if one doctor could only do that, then that means we needed at least 100.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let
Yes,
me
sir.
close on one thing. See, why did I write to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to see if it was okay to become a doctor?
Mm.
It was because at that time, the advice that I was receiving from the majority of Muslims was Muslims don't need no doctor. Muslims don't get sick. We don't need no doctor. Well, 50 years later, Brother Joshua, I think the majority opinion is still the same.
Mm.
The way I get treated, it's as though people are saying to me, we don't need no doctor. Muslims don't get sick. We don't need no doctor because they don't use me just a little bit. So has the attitude of the people really changed? Are we really still of the opinion we don't need no doctor? Because if we really didn't understand that we need a doctor, then we would treat the doctors that we have better. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You teaching, Dr. Alim, but I agree, sir. And inshallah, there's a quote from the rap artist Tupac Shakur that says, "He may not change the world, but he can spark the mind of someone who will change the world."
There you go.
Yes, sir. And so I believe that inshallah, like I was bringing it to someone's attention. My mother's number one wish that her children were Muslims, right? That was number one. But then number two, that we will all continue in higher education and that I would get my doctorate and that so I could say Dr. Joshua Leonard Muhammad. And inshallah, will continue to do that. And I hope that others would take it on because I brought it to someone's attention. I said there was Dr. Ava, the attorney, Dr. Abdul Karriem Muhammad, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. this, Dr. that, Dr. And I said, but yet we still are behind in the thinking in the nation and just general, but black men with the desire to finish education, to pursue education. So I'm telling you, Dr. Alim, know that you have sparked it. And I know that there are people, plenty of doctors who are going to come behind and have an example. I believe that we will get our hospital, inshallah. I believe it will come. I pray to Allah that I get to see it. I pray. I pray to Allah that I get to see it. I pray that somebody else is coming. And there are plenty of educated people in the nation. We just got to become united. And let's go to work. Okay, Dr. Alim, we'll read some of these comments. They said, we need you, Dr. Alim, from, I'm going to butcher that, but Moultrie, Georgia. We need you. Thank you very much. Much respect and gratitude to our doctor. I thank brother very much. I'm so eager to get his book. He heard you mention about helping him publish the book. Oh, thank you very much, No, for his stance. People are encouraging you to get publish a book, Dr. Alim. Brother Joshua, appreciate your help with the People's Podcast. Thank you, Clifford Brown. His late uncle, Brother Landale Muhammad, told him that he received his ex 26 years ago. He thanks a lot for Dr. Alim in the medical field when he came to the nation. He needs a box set of Dr. Alim interviews, Josh. Yes, man. Get on the People's Podcast playlist. We got it. Oh, also, I'm going to share a clip right now of a brother named Truth and Controversy. I've had the honor of interviewing him. His YouTube page is very popular. He has a playlist of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Abdul Karriem Muhammad, Dr. Khalid, all of the Minister Wazir in LA. He's out of the West Coast. So a lot of his storage is people who came to LA and helped build up the West Coast. Minister Abdullah, Minister Real. So much of the West Coast is on his page. But I reached out to him and said, I'm interviewing Dr. Abdul Karriem Muhammad again. Do you have a clip I can play of him? I'm trying to find a rare one. And he said, brother, I got a whole playlist. I said, hey. So shout out to you, sir. Make sure we support our brother's page, Truth and Controversy. Brother Ronald is out of England. He says he thinks people should go to school to get skills and teach them. Thank you very much. And Brother Clifford said, we definitely need a doctor. He thanks for Dr. Alim and the privilege he had for meeting and being around you. Sincerely, Brother Clifford 2X. Thank you very much, sir. And we're going to share the clip of that brother's Dr. Alim speaking at the Mosque at Mas Mariam. Anytime I get a clip Dr. Alim is always teaching and very profound. So thank you, sir. And thank you for Truth and Controversy. Thank you for the page. Thank you for the page. We're going straight to Truth and Controversies page so we can see. All right, here we go. 1 second. Boom, boom. And somebody said, make sure this doesn't happen. All right, here we go. Ba, ba, ba. Thank you all. Here we go. On to the 4-minute mark. And one day I'm gonna have an assistant who can assist with all this.
But now we wasn't talking about all that politics. You're not interested in politics when you're hungry, anyhow.
Okay, right here.
But Allah gonna say it's time.
Yes, sir.
So what you have to do is think about it in different ways. You have to think about it as an individual person, because you certainly have to save your life. The Holy Quran says, "He who saves a life, it is as though he had saved the lives of all men." Well, certainly the life that you need to save is your own. So you have to think about, what will it take for me as an individual person to survive this fall of America that Y2K is a part of? Then you're a member of a family, because you didn't get here by yourself. You have a mother and a father. You may have sisters. You may have brothers. You may have children and grandchildren, uncles and aunts, nephews and nieces, and on and on and on. And that is your family. Now, what are you going to do to see to it that your family survives? Or don't you care about your family? See, if all these things are going to take place January the 1st, year 2000, then you got to make a move before January the 1st. If you wait till the 31st of December, that's too late. If grandma's down in Mississippi, somebody got to go get grandma now.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Okay, yes, sir. Dr. Ali, when I saw this clip, I was saying that if you just remove Y2K and add the current condition of the world, the state of the world, it sounds right on time. What can we do to help save ourselves, save our families, save the community, save the nation? What can we help do? What is one of the things that we advise you would give to help save ourselves, first of all?
Well, I would advise everybody to tune in every Tuesday to the Your Immunity Project. That was the original name, and it was connected, of course, with the pandemic and all of that. But now its scope has broadened.
Yes, sir.
Your Immunity Project, the survival show, because we deal with all aspects of survival. Now, that clip that you showed, that was from the year 1999.
Yes, sir.
For the Y2K crisis, which was supposed to take down the entire internet and grid of the entire world or the country.
Yes, sir.
Now, many people, they said that I raised false alarms with that kind of presentation, because they say Y2K came and went and nothing ever happened. And I was a little bit, shocked myself that Y2K seemed to pass so uneventfully. But then I was invited to a reception at some place in DC. And one of the guests at the reception was John Koskinen. And John Koskinen was the White House advisor for Y2K. So I had a little side conversation with John Koskinen. And I said, well, what happened? I mean, we were all, on edge that some terrible catastrophe was going to happen, and nothing happened. He said, well, if you call spending $600 billion nothing, then go ahead. He said, but that's what the government spent, $600 billion to avoid the catastrophe of Y2K. He said the $600 billion spent by the US government was nothing compared to what was spent by private industry to ward off the disaster of Y2K. So he said you can think that nothing happened if you want to, but it bankrupted the country. So yes, fast forward to today, 25 years later, and you'll see that all of this dire predictions connected with Y2K 25 years ago are now coming true today. And guess what? The US government doesn't have $600 billion today to bail us out, nor does private industry have the billions upon billions of dollars that they had 25 years ago because they've gone bankrupt. So it's up to us to muster our resources and do what we can and come up with a survival plan on every level. An individual survival plan, a family survival plan, a community survival plan, a national survival plan, even a global survival plan. And if we don't plan to survive, then we probably won't.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And Dr. Alim, I just want to make a quick story about Y2K. So my parents, of course, my father was going super hard about survival kit. And we just thought, we didn't know what was happening. I just wanted to be a kid, and my siblings just wanted to play. And little did we know that after all of that food that we stored up, we would go through some financial times that were very tough. And we would wind up, as children, we wind up going to the survival kit and taking the food from the survival kit from Y2K, eating all of the snacks, all of everything was over. So even though it wasn't no Y2K, we tell people, listen, we used all them cookies, everything that was in there, everything was stored away. We used all of that. So yes, sir. So thank a lot for the survival kit during that time period. And thank Dr. Alim, some people are showing you love. So Sandra says she never misses it. Ronald Thompson says from England, this message can be applied today with the crash, with the system will crash soon. Sister Keisha Barnes says she had the pleasure of being treated by Dr. Alim. She is eternally grateful for Allah and his intervention. Salam alaikum. Last semester, okay, people are saying Dr. Alim, just beautiful. People are asking for your advice. Okay, great, excellent. Praise be to Allah. On another note, Dr. Alim, the FBI director, Patel, has been summoned from some of the officials in Memphis, Tennessee, to send, they said, 1,500 FBI agents into Memphis to stop the crime. The mayor came on TV and she said she's crying out. The young, basically they're describing young black men and the crime level that's going on in Memphis. And of course, it made me reflect on me looking at videos of the May Man March and that climate, and men's only, and the dope busters, how you all have already dealt with those type of intense situations. But when I saw it on Memphis, I couldn't believe that the director said he would send agents to help and assist. And it were black people. The Memphis government was, when she stood up there, it was all black people, and they were calling for help to deal with the plight of the crime. These are young black men, but the shooting, the murder, it was very eerie because it reminded me of the dope busters. It reminded me of the May Man March leading up to. For someone who's lived through that, what would you tell the people, the citizens in Memphis, on how to deal with that intense situation right now?
Well, of course, it's not just Memphis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Philadelphia, it's Washington, D.C., it's Chicago.
It's Atlanta.
It's the United States, it's London, it's Paris.
Yes, sir.
It's Brussels, it's Berlin, Germany. You have young men mostly, but also sometimes young women, yes, who are lawless. They have no respect for society or the norms of society or the laws of society or the authority figures of society. And this is largely for two distinct reasons. You can go back to the Greek philosopher Aristotle. He said that poverty and ignorance are the two parents of violence and crime. So if you want to know why the young people are out of control and acting up, engaged in criminal activity and violence in Memphis, Tennessee, go ask the school supervisor. What have you been educating this generation with for the last 20 years? What did you teach them in kindergarten and elementary school and high school? Because what you're seeing in the streets is a reflection of what you taught them.
Yes, sir.
If you wanted them to act better, why didn't you teach them better? And then you have the audacity to call in the most corrupt so-called legal agency in the country to correct the young people, your own children. You're calling in violence to be
Yes,
done
sir.
to your own children?
Yes, sir.
You want the FBI to murder your own children that you failed to educate? And then what about the poverty? Why are they engaged in crime? Because they want a better standard of living. They want more things. They want to be consumers in a consumer economy.
Yes, sir.
So what skill did you teach them that is a marketable skill? How many carpenters were turned out of the public school system in Memphis? How many plumbers? How many electricians? How many mechanics? How many technicians and tradesmen of every description were turned out by the Memphis school system in the last 20 years? If that young man involved in a crime wave today had been given a skill, a legal way to make money, he wouldn't be out there risking his life involved in violent crime, where it's either kill or be killed. That's not a civilized life for anybody to live, and he's not doing it because he wants to do it.
Go ahead and teach, Dr. Ali.
He has no other choice because he's not smart enough to think of something because he can't even read. A teacher friend of mine sent me a text just yesterday where here's at the end of the school year, she's finding out that almost none of her students can even read. I told her, I said, I read an article last week. It's saying 60% of Americans read below the 6th grade level. Well, now somebody that's operating below the 6th grade level, trying to make a living in this modern high-tech society, they have no choice but to resort to crime out of desperation. So the failure is not in these young people. These young people have been failed.
Come on with it.
You say that these young people have no remorse, that they don't seem to have any conscience, and they're loveless. Well, that's because they were deprived of love.
Yes, sir.
This is the generation they weren't breastfed on their mother's breast. They were fed synthetic formula. They didn't have a human babysitter. They were sitting in front of a TV set watching cartoons and other violent shows. And they listen to the news. They may not be adept to all the current affairs, but they know what the president of the United States always does when he has a problem. He resorts to violence.
Go ahead and teach, Dr. Ali. Yes, sir.
How can you say that these young people are wrong when they resort to violence to solve their problem, when that's what you do at the highest level of your government? And what are you doing when you're calling in the FBI against your own children, except resorting to violence against your own children? I guess you don't even have the heart to beat your own children, because if you had disciplined your own children, then you wouldn't have to have law enforcement to beat them for you and put them away in a prison. You see, so the situation in Memphis is just showing the bankruptcy of you could say my generation, the boomer generation, the generation that came of age in the 60s, those that came out of the civil rights struggle, and you betrayed the struggle, and you sold out for political positions. Almost all of the lieutenants of Dr. King did that. And you became a part of the corruption. And because you did that, now you have sacrificed your own children to this system.
Yes, sir.
So the lesson says it like this: the duty of a civilized man is to teach the uncivilized.
That's right.
But what must be done if a civilized man fails to perform his duty? He must be chastised with a severe chastisement. And when I thought about it, I said, well, what would be the severe chastisement of a civilized man who fails to perform his duty? He's going to be chastised by the uncivilized.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To death. The savage is going to crawl in your house and rape your mama because you didn't teach them. You didn't show them the way. And now you're paying the price for it. And the FBI won't save you. Maybe the FOI would save you if you could find some.
Beautiful, Dr. Ali, teaching. All praises to a lot of people bear witness all around the world. Thank you very much. Welcome, salam, Brother Javon. For the vapor, this is excellent. Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, this person. Tajuddin, Walaikum Salam. Joshua, beloved, thank you very much. People representing for Plainfield, Useful Radio, just so many people who are bear witness. I just want to, I'm not done with this right now. There's so many people showing you love, Dr. Alim. Lastly, we have two more questions, and inshallah, we will see from, I've given my word, and I'm manifesting it. The inshallah will be in DC this year. And when I come to People's Podcast Day, everybody keeps saying, when are you going to interview Dr. Alim in person? It's going to be one. It's going to be amazing. Y'all gonna love the sound, the camera equipment. It's going to be good, inshallah. But I wanted to ask you, sir, is there anything that we know you play music, so that's something you do to unwind, but is there anything you're watching outside of the news, any movies, any TV shows, anything that you're doing to keep it light, just when you're in some downtime when you're not teaching?
Well, on a personal level, I mean, my favorite activity is I bought an electric bike.
Okay.
And so it takes the struggle out of, cycling, because you can set it to do all the work 100%,
yes,
or you can do 50%, whatever you want to do. And so that's how I keep fit.
Yes, sir.
I have a wonderful Tai Chi teacher. So we meet once or twice a week, so I'm trying to master my Tai Chi form.
Yes, sir.
And then occasionally, I run track and field.
That's right.
I didn't run in the Penn relays this year. I did last year.
Yes, sir.
But I had a little ankle sprain, so I didn't want to risk a severe injury, so I pulled out at the last minute. But I just try to keep active, and I try to stay engaged. And then on the spiritual level, I think the most important thing that has happened to me recently is my affiliation with the prayer and fasting group.
Yes, sir.
With Brother Warren and the prayer and fasting group. Because those people, through their discipline of prayer and fasting, there seems to be a spiritual resonance.
Okay.
Occurs at a certain level of spiritual development. And so that's where I'm at, to be able to communicate with people on a spiritual level, at the level at which people need to be communicated on.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes communication is there, but it's taking place on a lower level. It's almost on like a physical level. We want to know what happened physically, but wait a minute. What more importantly, what was happening on the spiritual level?
Yes, sir.
Level, but on the unseen level,
yes, sir.
And so that's been the greatest inspiration to me. So you asked the question, what advice do I have to give to the believers to up their spirits? Well, I can say that prayer and fasting has upped my spirit.
Okay, good.
And so I recommend the same to anyone. Engage with prayer and fasting, not just the group, but really pray.
Yes, sir.
Really do your 5 prayers, and really eat 1 meal a day.
Yes, sir.
And really fast 3 days out of the month, and follow How to Eat to Live to the T. And you will see a rapid transformation, not just in your physical health, not just in your emotional health, but most importantly in your spiritual health.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Dr. Alim. Now, for our last question, we want to go back once again. We are sending positive energy and prayers to the family of the General Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad, all of his loved ones, all of the believers, everybody who knew him, and to all of us, to people who may have not known Minister Karim, but benefit from the hard work that he put in for this nation, and many of the pioneers that he put in for this nation. If you could just give us closing remarks about him, sir.
Well, yes, the foundation that all of us are standing on, including me.
Yes, sir.
I would not be the Dr. Abdul Karriem Muhammad that you know, had it not been for Abdul Karriem Muhammad putting me in a position where I could grow and develop into, what I have become. Great. But that's not just for me. Think about all the people, that I have been able to help. Well, that all traces back to him too. And then all of the other ministers like Minister Rowland and all up and down the East Coast, all of that was his work. See, look at the big props that people love to give Malcolm because of Malcolm's pioneering work in helping the Honorable Elijah Muhammad build the nation.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I would say that Minister Kareem's work is equal, if not greater than the work of Malcolm. He did more than Malcolm. You see, so we should give him the same honor and respect. And of course, he didn't go bad like Malcolm.
Yeah. Yes.
See, so he didn't go bad. He didn't get carried away with himself. You know, he was true to the end.
All praises due to Allah. We salute him, honor him. Thank you, sir, for giving us a different perspective on him as someone who actually knows and knew him and knows him from the work standpoint in the 80s and that time period. I'm fascinated. And so their television show, I know this is like stuff that you wouldn't care about necessarily, but on TV, there's BMF, all these TV shows about the 80s gangsters, the 90s gangsters, and the drug dealers and all. And we watch it because whether you sell drugs, I didn't sell drugs, nothing, but you're fascinated with the historical standpoint of who was doing what in the 80s, who was doing what in the 90s. I feel that same way and even more for those in the nation. Yes. Who was with the minister from day one? Who was walking with him? Okay, who had the East Coast? Who had the West Coast? Who was in Chicago? Who was in Atlanta? Right. Who was and it's like to be able to speak to you and to know that every time we uplift your name and uplift the names of those who put in this work, it brings you all to life. It keeps you all. It keeps me fresh in my heart, and it reminds me that my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death is all for Allah. And I have examples of no matter what I've been through and in my life, I have not gone through half of the things that my parents have gone through, half of the things that you all have gone through. So I have so much more work to do to help establish Islam here in North America. I'm motivated, and I thank you all for being great examples of how to help build a nation. And so everybody who wants to help build a nation, let's pick up, fight for our nation and find our way. Like you said, Nine Ministries is something for us to do, something for everybody to do to help the nation of Islam and help our people. And so I pray that we are found doing it. People are bearing witness in the comments. Sister Anne-Marie said, all praise due to Allah. Thank you very much, Brother Fonzo Booker, Brother Javon Lewis. Dr. Alim, if people have a question for you, how do you want people to reach out to you?
Well, right now, I'm on Telegram. That's my only social media post.
Okay, yes, sir.
So Dr. Alim on Telegram, spell the word doctor all the way out. And I put up daily posts almost every day. I put something up. Now, the Your Immunity Project is Tuesdays at 3 p.m.
Go ahead.
Now, this Tuesday, we won't be broadcasting. My grandson is graduating from middle school.
Go ahead.
We'll have to attend that. But on any other Tuesday, 3 p.m. live, and then a rebroadcast at 7 p.m., the Your Immunity Project. Then we do the 19th Element on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And we deal with geopolitical issues, current events. And then, of course, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, prayer and fasting on Zoom and other platforms. So I guess I'm out three times a week.
Yes, sir.
Project 19th Element in prayer and fasting.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And Dr. Alim, could you...
I add one other thing?
Yes, sir.
I've been working to develop my website, and I finally have someone that's actually helping me. So inshallah, in the next week or two or three, the website should be fully functional, and we should be able to offer you an array of services that will help to improve your health and maintain your health. So please forgive it's been such a long time trying to build the website and get it up and then get the help that I need. So inshallah, help has arrived and we'll be ready to go in just a few more days.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you all very much. And please, everybody who has positive things to say about, of course, Dr. Abdul Karriem Muhammad, but right now, Minister Abdul Karriem Muhammad, you can put your testimonies in the comments or reach out to me on social media if you would like to be a guest. Dr. Alim, we are sending our love to you and your family. Please let your grandson know that, of course, your son know Kush as well, that we support and love him. And but your grandson, as he gets older, if he ever wants to come on the People's Podcast and whatever his skills and talents are, whatever he Kush, that we are family, and I mean that, we mean that to forever. So let him know that we are rooting for him in his graduation, and we're praying that Allah continues to bless your bloodline, your spirit line, and we're happy to be connected to you, Dr. Alim. Thank you to everybody who's watching. This is Joshua Leonard. Oh, last thing, I gotta say one more thing, Dr. Alim. I just wanted on the record that Dr. Alim has constantly checked on my father, always being very kind and just asking. Like, I just want people to know that Dr. Alim is a human person and a believer, and he's not just like some serious, like, you know, people just see you as like some serious. I'm like, man, he asked about my dad more than people who I thought would ask about my father. And so that means a lot to me, Dr. Alim, that you just very close to, you know, our family, and we appreciate that. So thank you. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off on the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.